SkinSilo is a mobile app that allows you to earn PUBG and CSGO skins by watching videos, playing games, using apps, and completing other tasks. You can use the SkinSilo app on iOS and Android to earn credits on the go as you work towards earning some of the best skins available at both low and high credit options. You can earn easy credits before this video is even finished playing. You can earn your first 250 credits by going to SkinSilo and using the referral code MOSES. Thank you to SkinSilo for sponsoring this video, and now let's jump into the test server footage. Hey y'all, Moses here. I wanted to make this video because obviously a lot of people have been asking me in Twitter and other places what I think of the new patch. And obviously, again, I spent a lot of time with it last night. So I wanted to kind of give my thoughts. And it's going to be a bit of a long video because there's lots to talk about. So right out of the gate, for those of you who are wondering and you haven't had a chance to play, the patch is good. I'm very happy with what they've presented to us in a first test phase. Vaulting works fairly well. The optimization changes are quite noticeable. And some of the other stuff that wasn't announced in the patch notes is also pretty interesting. So I'm going to just jump through what I have written down here. I'm going to try and get to everything and try and keep it under 20 minutes here. So the first thing I want to go through is all this stuff that wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, okay? So the first thing that I noticed and that the chat noticed is that there are no clothing spawns in the world anymore. I didn't see any clothing spawns kicking around anywhere. And that was actually... It wasn't, once I've noticed it, it was actually kind of nice because when you're looting, you're not just like, okay, pants, shirt, here, there. There was no items that were unneeded on the ground. So no clothing spawns anywhere that I could see. The second thing that was noticed was that there is a change to the map near Mansion. Now, a lot of people have mentioned this. This has been posted on Reddit, so it might not be news to you, but there is a new forest and pond area, and actually a very dense forest area behind the mansion where there used to be just an open field. So really interesting to see how that kind of changed the dynamic in that area because there's this very dense and detailed forest. I'm not sure if it's a proof of concept because I walked through the forest and I noticed that there was a lot of new assets in there. So new tree models, some other stuff that might have just come as a bundle with the new engine updates, because that's a big part of this patch is the update to the Unreal Engine that has been incorporated. So very interesting, very nice looking area. It didn't really kill my FPS or anything like that. So check that out if you haven't seen it in the test server yet. Other than that, the pistol recoil changes are also a big deal. Pistols handle a lot more, a lot nicer now, it feels like. Much easier to handle, much more controllable from a recoil standpoint, both the 9mm 1911. Haven't had a chance to play with the revolver yet. But the pistol handles very, very nicely now. The 1911 and the P97 or the 9mm pistol that I can't immediately recall, the P92 are very nice pistols. They handle like regular guns. They're not just like shooting all over the damn place. They handle very well. They've also reduced the muzzle flash a little bit, so I think it's easier to see where you're shooting. So that's really nice. So another thing is the kill feed. The kill feed has changed, or at least there's an option to change it to a kind of Counter-Strike style kill feed. So you can find that in the options menu and you select it and it turns on this, again, Counter-Strike or traditional kill feed up in the top right that just shows the player name and the weapon and what happened to them, and that's it. So it kind of takes some of the information off the screen and cleans it up a little bit. So I like that change and I implemented it right away. The weapons have changed a little bit as well, not in the sense that you might think. So the weapons have kind of come up on the screen, I guess, or they've changed the way that they're held on the screen, which is a little bit strange. I think that they hit the right mark on some of the weapons, but the rest, specifically the M4 and some of the ARs, need a little bit of tweaking because they take up a pretty large amount of space on the screen. I'm not sure if that's designed to show more of the model. And a little conspiracy theory here is that if the weapon is taking up more of the screen, my first thought is that weapon skins are in the near future. So these two things might be completely unrelated. I'm just completely making stuff up off the top of my head. But why would you bring the view of the model into the screen a lot more? It takes away a lot of visibility on the right lower side of the screen. So I'm not sure if it's just a mistake or they're tweaking it, or if this is propping something up to kind of showcase future weapon skins. I don't know. It's kind of annoying, but it's not a big change. Some of the other weapons have received animation updates. I think the Vector was one of them. Little animation tweaks here and there. Typically, when those types of things come into the game, the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds dev team, when it comes to animations, is actually quite good. Their animations are very, very nice. So I was happy to see some little tweaks there as well. Car handling and physics. So car handling is definitely different. And around that, for those of you who've been wondering, the buggy is not only tolerable, but sounds pretty cool now. The buggy's sound has been reduced drastically. All the vehicle sounds have changed. They're much quieter now. I think they should maybe actually, believe it or not, increase the sound a little bit. I think they might have come too far down, but that might just be me. You guys might like where it is right now, but ultimately, I think that the vehicles are kind of stealthy now. The UAZ is definitely sounds a lot less powerful than it did before. It handles differently than it did before. It's a smaller vehicle now, so I think the physics on it are a little floaty for a big Jeep, but the Dacia handles pretty nice. The buggy's pretty good. Definitely some more tweaks required, but they do handle better. I feel like the animation and the enjoyment of driving has been increased overall, but there are further tweaks that should come into the game still. So I'm pretty happy with the way they've handled the vehicles. The bike sounds super badass now. You sound like you're on like a race motorcycle, which doesn't really fit with what you're driving. It sounds more of like a super bike than like a dirt bike hybrid thing. But either way, I welcome anything like that, and it sounds cool. So whatever. Maybe they put it in just for Dr. Disrespect, who's going to have a little meltdown when he hears that bike sound. So the movement in the game, like I can't believe it's taken me this long to get to it. So vaulting is cool. Okay, so I can't really say anything about vaulting. It's still the early stages of the movement system. It works pretty good. It feels intuitive, and I said this on the stream last night, but it's not like a world-breaking event for me to have vaulting in the game. It is definitely a welcome change. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome. But I've had access to it in so many other games that I'm not like, oh my god, this is amazing, like a completely different video game. Like it's just nice to have, and I'm glad it's in the game. But it feels weird that I'm not super excited about it in the sense that I've been playing Battlefield, I've been playing other games, Call of Duty, where you can just do it. It's just part of the game. So it's kind of like when iOS catches up to Android in some way, you know? It's nice to have. It feels very good. Getting in and out of windows is very easy now. Crouch jumping. Oh yeah, crouch jumping is no longer in the game at all. You can no longer do that movement. So that was something I knew was going to happen, but I got stuck in some windows that I would like to be able to crouch jump out of that I couldn't get. I had to kill myself a couple of times because I couldn't get out of a spot I vaulted into. But really, vaulting is cool, and even the general movement of the player through the world seems a lot better. And I think that has something to do with some of the optimization that has happened with some of the map assets. Maybe the jagged edges that might get a player stuck is no longer there. But movement in general is improved to the point where it's not frustrating to just run around in a spot anymore, because you can generally get around pretty easy. So that's a really big improvement to the quality of life in the gameplay, if not a completely, you know, foreign or world-breaking concept in video games in general. The smoke grenade. The smoke grenade has been changed completely. It now kind of makes a little pool of smoke in one area. It's very consistent. It doesn't spray randomly. It is very consistent, and it looks really good. The smoke effect is awesome. It looks very realistic. It kind of creeps along on the ground and makes a very consistent little dome of smoke. So if you're going to res a teammate or smoke off an area, if you can aim the smoke grenade, you can definitely deploy smokes in a tactical fashion now, which is something that wasn't very available in previous builds. Well, I mean, any build prior to this one. So that's really sweet to see. And a couple other little things. The optimization. I have a pretty nice computer, so to me, the game ran really well. I did not experience any crashes at all. Not since I started playing the game. I played it for, I think, 8 hours yesterday. I did not experience a single crash. So I'm not sure if that was like a situation where they were warning us about something that might not have been a super major issue, just to kind of cover their butts. But I did not experience any crashes. The FPS increase, definitely noticeable, but not as drastically to me as it has to others. It is noticeable in the game. People are commenting that it's very, very noticeable. So I'm happy to see that. A few other things. I think the SKS bullet speed has been increased, which would be a overall buff to that weapon, because that was something that kind of held the SKS back from the Mini, was that the bullet speed was so much faster on the Mini. It was more accurate and easy to control. The SKS definitely handles the same way, but I believe the bullet speed has increased because I was having a much easier time sniping targets at long distance with the 4X than I did in previous builds. So I'm pretty happy to see that the SKS is getting what appears to be a buff. It's not confirmed, but that's what it feels like to me. So that's kind of the things I wanted to touch on that were not mentioned in the patch notes. But there is a few other things I just kind of wanted to give from a feedback perspective that I think would be just, I guess, kind of consolidating my thoughts. So the game is still not perfect. I think that the gunplay is definitely improved. I can feel that there were at least a few instances where I got into a one-to-one gunfight. Either I won because I did the right thing, or I lost because I did the wrong thing. It didn't feel a lot of the time like I was kind of winning a dice roll or I was getting robbed of anything. There was one specific instance where I came across a guy. I shot him with an ump in the head. It took his helmet off, but he had an AR and he killed me. So, I mean, those two things together, like, that makes sense. He had the more powerful weapon. I did a lot of damage to him, but ultimately we both hit our shots and the higher damage weapon prevails. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. So the patch feels great. It's a step in the right direction. It's a big step in the right direction. This is the type of thing that I would have hoped for a couple of months ago, but realistically, you know, all things considered, I believe they have, you know, different resources available now, you know, with the Xbox team working on it, other outside influences, and the fact that they can maybe consolidate their efforts onto the PC 1.0 version now that the Xbox stuff has been kind of wrapped up. It feels good. It feels really good. I'm happy. I'm happy that I can play it and that this is the direction we're going in, but I'm sad and a little disappointed that I would have to potentially go back to a live build that has none of these changes in it. And I said this on stream last night, and I'll tell you now, I don't think I would go back to the live version. I think I would rather play something else until the next test phase starts. I hope it's soon. The test phase has been extended, so I'll be able to play again tonight, but really, I'm renewed. My interest, like, I had a lot of issues with the game and the development over the last month or 2 months, and it was really sucking my interest, like, just dry. I had no interest in making content or streaming or even playing the game, and now it's completely different. It's night and day. I'm excited to play. That's not something I felt in that way in quite some time, and I think it was really noticeable last night. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came and participated and asked me questions, even though they were repetitious in some ways, but that's okay. I mean, there was a lot of new people coming in to check out the test build, but I'm really excited. The dev team has done a tremendous job in deploying this test server, even though it was super late. I think obviously now, in retrospect, if it had been crashing, it would have soured the experience. So I understand where they're coming from, even though I complained about it before. But I'm allowed to complain and then not complain after. So yeah, I was really happy with it. So I'm going to leave you guys with as much footage as possible. I'll leave some open questions. How do you guys feel about the test server build if you've played it? Any feedback? What would you like to see changed? Or you know, some people in the last video said that they didn't like the amount of changes, which, I mean, is a little mind-boggling considering that's how much we've been talking, or that's basically all we've been talking about for weeks and weeks, is what needs to change and to freshen the game up. But I'm definitely interested to hear you guys' thoughts. Any other changes you'd like to see in the test build in the next test phase, or anything you liked about it or disliked about it, just leave it a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Other than that, I'll be back streaming the test server again tonight. I'm not sure. I think Choco wants to play some squads, so if you want to watch Choco Taco and I play some squads, come hang out in the Twitch chat at twitch.tv/wtfmoses. I am a Twitch partner now. I'll make a separate video about that later, but otherwise, the test server was really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the footage. Follow me on Twitter at wtfmoses, and I think we managed to keep it under 20 minutes. So thanks again for watching, and until next time, I'll see you out there.